Be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a good deal and helps support the show. What's up, Planeswalkers? Theoric Sad back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Why am I Theoric Sad? Well, it's because I wanted to play some Historic. We can play Historic for what it's worth. You know, we have this nonsense, which I hate. But then you can also play unranked Historic just by choosing a Historic deck in play mode. The issue with that is, one, it doesn't actually go towards quest rewards, which would be okay, because then it would mean, theoretically, that people who are playing in the Historic play mode wouldn't be playing just, like, good decks in them. I went up against a blue-white, mono-blue tempo deck. It was really close. I still lost horribly. And I went up against a Simic Neoform combo that killed me on turn 3. So then I remembered that I had in the pipeline a bit of an anti-spell deck. Pseudo-anti-green. It's not technically anti-green. Or sorry, anti-blue, I mean. Although, frankly, anti-Simic is good enough. So this is what we're going to be playing today. Notably, I went up against Mono Green Stompy, and I was able to beat that, which frankly I was surprised by. I was expecting that this deck would not do anything against an opposing creature deck, but we made decent trades, and we are able to utilize Chandra efficiently. So we're running 24 lands. I think that's reasonable given our curve. We have no 1-drops, that's fine, because the point of every card in this deck is meant to be, fuck you spells. Fuck you, trying to do things that I don't want to deal with. We got 4 Destiny Spinners, 2 mana, 2/3, makes it so our creatures' enchantments can't be countered. 1, fantastic, it means that these 2 can't be countered. These are really important enchantments for us, because this also makes creatures not be able to be countered. However, it also gives things Riot, which is great. But she's also just a decent 2/3. We have 4 Paradise Druids. She is hexproof. She can't be stolen from us, she can't be bounced, etc., unless, of course, she's been tapped. And she's great at letting us go from 2 to 4, which we have a decent number of, and since we are running some 5s and 6s with only 24 lands, she does help us get there as well. We got 4 Cindervines. 4 main deck Cindervines. 1, stop casting non-creature spells at me, opponent. Stop. And 2, we get to blow up enchantments and deal damage. There are plenty of enchantment decks running around right now, so seems alright. We got 3 Bonecrusher Giant. Maybe I should be running 4. I'm running 3. Deal with it. No, I'm kidding. You can run 4 if you want. I don't know. It's very helpful as a bit of reach in the late game. You know, deals 2 damage to our opponent's face. Can also just help deal with opposing creatures. And of course, it can become a 4/3, where if an opponent tries to target it with a spell, they get hurt. We don't like spells around here. Anyway, well, non-creature spells. 4 Gruul Spellbreakers. She's the best brute. 3 mana 3/3 with haste and hexproof on your turn, or 3 mana 3/3 with, or 3 mana 4/4 with, oh, the other one also has transfer. You know what I'm saying. This card's been around for a while. It's a cool card. Rhythm of the Wild. Creature spells can't be countered. This is great. Non-creature spells have Riot. Or shit, non-token creature spells. Non-token creatures have Riot. I don't feel good. I don't know if anyone knows that, but I just feel like, I don't feel sick. I just feel like, you know. It is physically ill, but who knows? Anyway, we're playing Arasta again because I think she's cool. That's pretty much the only reason. Also, whenever our opponent casts an instant sorcery spell, we get to make some spitters. Horrifying spiders. 4 Shifting Ceratops, can't be countered. Pro blue, can get reach to deal with annoying flying creatures, can get trample to deal with annoying chump blockers, can get haste to hit motherfuckers out of nowhere. 3 Skarrgan Hellkites. It's a 5 mana 4/4 that has Riot and Flying, and it can deal 2 damage to things divided if it has a +1/+1 counter on it. It's not bad. Not bad at all. 3 Chandras. Can't be countered. Cannot be countered. Kills things, and pings our opponent to death. There's our mana base. We are relatively even on color requirements, kind of, probably a little bit more towards the green, but it doesn't actually matter. This is just the auto-generated 8 and 8. Then, of course, we have 4 Stomping Grounds and 4 Temples. The reason I'm running 4 Temples is because we don't have any 1-drops. We have a decent glut in the early game, so we should be more or less okay with it. Is there anything else I wanted to reference? I was considering playing blue just so that I could utilize... What's the name of that card? Lazadette Plating. The issue is I didn't feel like incorporating any more blue. So I want to just do this. It's fine. It's whatever. I just want... Also, we're not playing standard ranked anymore. I can't do it. I can't do it. I gotta be playing in play mode. Because apparently if I'm playing ranked, I'm just gonna get sad. Excuse me, more sad. It's a good hand. It's a good hand. We got Paradise Druid into Arasta potentially. Or we can go Rhythm of the Wild first. Who knows? Who cares? You know, it's fine. We're going second. We might die to red decks, but you know. Oh, blue-green. Wow. I didn't know people played that color combination. I thought everyone was playing white-black. Am I bitter? Yes. Yes, I am. White has been shafted for too long. I want an end to this atrocity. Alright. Playing a Paradise Druid, our opponent's just jerking themselves around. She's having a good time right now. Teamer, you know what? A little bit more respect. It's Teamer Elementals, I believe. I believe this is like the actual carbon copy Teamer Elemental deck, most likely. But, you know, not much I can do. I think I'm gonna get Rhythm of the Wild down. I'm also not going to attack with her, just because I might need the mana. But making Arasta a 4-5, or a 4-6, is a lot better than having a 3-5. Okay. Fuck you?
You'll thank me later.
What? You're playing 4-color nonsense. Gotcha. Good to know. I'm an anti-spell deck, and I can't wait. I cannot wait for this to be killed when I go to attack this. Well, yeah, I don't have another land, so Shifting Ceratops can't dome to fairy. Fuck it. Cool, the fairy dies. I will attempt to cast this again. It will probably be countered. Yup. No, it's not. Wow. Wow, cool. I'm going to ham it up this entire video. I'm not super upset with Magic right now, but I will say I'm not having a blast in Standard. I would much rather be playing Historic, and I'd much rather be playing Historic in best of 3. That, in terms of Arena Magic, that is the best kind of Magic right now, because we do not have access to Brawl every day. I don't care about that stupid event. I'll acknowledge it. It's stupid. It's shitty for Wizards to do. It's shitty for Wizards to not let us have fucking Historic queues. It just is not cool. All right, cool. This is cool though. We can make her big-ish. We could alternatively play a Skarrgan and make it a 6/6. I just don't like my opponent having the possibility of just... Oh, you know what? No, it's fucked. I'm like so incredibly certain that my opponent has access to Agent of Treachery. So I don't want to play anything other than Shifting Ceratops here. But even then, since I don't have a sufficient green... Yeah, they'll just steal some shit from me anyway. I don't know, maybe I should have played Arasta. I'm gonna give a haste. I'm gonna try and just deal my opponent. Yeah, they're not interested in blocking at all. I should probably have a little bit more green in the deck. Yeah. I shouldn't listen to the game. At least this is Pro Blue. They might steal my Paradise Druid, which would suck. But at the very least, this is Pro Blue. Dream Trawler. What kind of, like... In this... So this, Wizards recently put out a, 5... Can't be countered. I'm just trying to smoke, dude. Yeah, I can't block the Ceratops with the Dream Trawler. Alright, cool. My opponent's at 6. We'll see if I can just kill them out of nowhere. I talked about the fact that, oh, sorry. Wizards put fucking...
Sorry I'm late. I've got it.
Okay, they're gonna gain all that life back. Anyway, and you have black. 5 colors. 5 colors with double requirements on the escape. Double requirements. Wizards put out a survey for Theros Beyond Death, and I mean, I like the set. Honestly, I think Theros Beyond Death is one of the better sets to come out recently, and that's because the individual power level of the cards is lower. There are still some super strong cards, but overall, the individual power level of every card is lower. And what I mean by that is... shit, I forgot to add more green. Whatever, I'll keep this. And what I mean by that is, I think the reason I hate Standard right now, and I will go that far, I hate Standard right now, and I've hated it for a while, is because it feels like, and I could be wrong, I could totally be wrong, it feels like the individual decks, I could just play Chandra next turn, but that's if my Paradise Druid survives, and I doubt that's going to happen, so... I'm going to make you big. Yeah, you're not attacking. It feels like the decks in Cinder right now are much less about synergy. There's still plenty of synergistic decks, but I'm talking like the top level decks. They feel like they're much less about synergy and a lot more about just playing the strongest cards with no semblance of like care just because you can. And I think that last deck was a perfect example of that, where part of it, of course, is that the mana is probably a little too good. But honestly, like, cards like Teferi that can do so much damage just by existing. Cards like Growth Spiral. I love Growth Spiral, but, you know, Growth Spiral, the thing is, Growth Spiral is not even a problem, right? It's the rest of the things. I'm going to double block here. Damn. Well, I was hoping that didn't happen, but whatever. Yeah, second use more green. But my biggest concern isn't even with the types of decks being played. My biggest concern essentially is that when the individual cards are so powerful, if your opponent has one powerful card and you don't immediately match that card, you've lost. And that fucking sucks. Like, if your opponent casts Ejsing and Treachery on you, and you can't immediately treachery them back, you almost certainly have lost. If your opponent casts a Teferi and you don't have an immediate answer, you've most likely lost. Now, you might not, you know, you might have had a board state that's good enough. Obviously, this doesn't work perfectly with the aggro and control decks, mainly because a lot of the control decks will be, you know, more counterspell oriented, and those aren't a perfect analogy for things. I'm not gonna block. I mean, I'm almost certainly just casting Chandra next turn. Stop it. Get some help. Yeah, might as well. And then, of course, the aggro decks. And it brings me to this card. Luckily, I have Cindervines to blow it the fuck up. Yeah, how about you don't? I was going to say, even the aggro decks don't follow this as much, but they still have access to cards like Cindervines, which are dumb. Giving it flash, totally fine. Making it so when it enters it immediately equips, totally fine. Doing both at the same time and having cost reduction, it seems to be a little bit much. Yeah, we're just gonna kill this. This doesn't care about abilities, luckily. Only has 3 cards. But yeah, like, I find standard so unenjoyable when... Oh. Oh, she's still alive. All right. That's fine. I got blockers. Yeah, I find it so difficult to enjoy when I'm trying to, you know, make a more synergistic deck, make something around a theme. This motherfucker plays another Embercleave. I'm breaking. My heart can't take this. I think I'm still gonna put the rhythm down. I mean, I got like nothing else to say. I think play design has done more damage than they've helped, and I think it's because they've kind of Yu-Gi-Oh-fied the game. And what I mean by that is cards like Questing Beast, right? This card was made to be played, right? The purpose of Questing Beast was so that it would see play. It would be a, you know, a standard all-star, etc., etc. To an extent, I can understand why you print cards that are meant to be played. But I think that the power level of individual cards is too high for standard. Doesn't matter what I do with this. I should have played Arasta anyway, but I don't think it matters. Sure. But yeah, Questing Beast I think is the perfect example. This Embercleave, Oko, obviously a lot of these are out of Throat of Eldraine, but Free Fairy, just a lot of cards like that. They were tuned with the purpose of being the top of standard. And I feel like that's just not the magic way to do things. Once again, my opinion, I could be wrong, but the reason, in my opinion, why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an inferior, yeah, I'll block it. I got other big things. The reason why I believe that, man, I would love another land, though. This can't become big enough to actually like do anything with that, so I guess I'm gonna do this. That I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a worse card game, is because the designers design decks, not cards. Obviously, there's plenty of, you know, so there are archetypes. Sometimes these archetypes will be melded together. You'll get the rare archetype that has sufficient support just to be essentially its own deck, plus a few spell and trap cards, which just generally help in the metagame, you know, stuff like that. And sometimes you'll have decks that are not built on like the pre-made archetypes and stuff. But at least from the last time I saw, the decks that do well are the ones that are designed by Konami to do well, essentially. These are archetypes that have been given enough support.
Oh, I am gonna love tearing this place to the ground.
It feels like that's what Magic is doing right now. And in my opinion, that's not the way to do things. The way to do things is print cards that you think are gonna be good. I mean, I'm just gonna concede. I don't care. At this point, it's just gonna be me talking about how bad Magic is right now for 20 minutes. And the thing is, it's not, or for 30 minutes, it's not even like it's just become bad with Throne of Eldraine. It was bad, honestly, War of the Spark. War of the Spark made it fucking awful. We're gonna hop into another game. War of the Spark, M20, Throne of Eldraine, like all of those sets were awful. I'll keep this because I don't know any better, and I'm like checked the fuck out. Also, I love how as soon as I play a deck that's meant to counter blue decks, I get no actual blue decks. I was playing a little bit earlier. I was playing in Historic, nothing but blue as far as the eye can see. As soon as I choose a deck that should, you know, assuage such difficulties, blue disappears. It's fantastic. But yeah, like when you're designing for, like when you're designing to have certain decks be dominant, you lose the creativity of Standard. If you're making a green deck, you know, you're gonna look at the cards and you'll be like, oh, Questing Beast is objectively the correct thing to put in, right? I really want to block that. I don't think I can. I think I need to get Arasta down. She should help a lot in this matchup. She's a great blocker. She gives me blockers. They're going to kill my Paradise Druid in response. That's fine. Sure. But she should hopefully help me out. Obviously, she can still die. But whatevs. But yeah, like you look at making a control deck that's in blue and white. You pretty much have to play Teferi. Like, there's essentially no ifs, ands, or buts. And I feel like that loses some of the charm of saying like, oh, you know, I had this mono green deck, but it's different than your mono green deck because I'm playing X, X, and X, and you're playing X, Y, and Z. I don't know. Maybe I'm just full of crap. Maybe I'm just butthurt. I don't know if that trade was worth it on their part. So I could play Shifting Ceratops. I could play Cindervines and kill this. I think I'm just going to play Ceratops. Next turn I can play Spellbreaker plus Giant. But this blocks that pretty well. And brings me back to this issue, right? The reason I'm essentially forced to play Standard, right? Well, that's just rude. Am I gonna trump that? No. Yeah, she's coming back. Technically, I could play Magic Online. People don't want to look at Magic Online. It does not look as good. Do I block that with Arasta? The issue is I can't kill this easily. I need to draw one of my other Bonecrusher Giants. Chandra wouldn't do it. No. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't want to take 6, but I want to keep Arasta around for a little bit. Skarrgan. So they have 1 card. I'm just gonna make this a 4/4. I think I'm just gonna Bone Crush this now. Just pass. Next one I can do this or just this. We'll easily trade that. Then they play another one. Yep. Sure. This is 5, so this being on 5 doesn't help me. So I think I would rather just do this here. Was I saying something? I don't think I was. Oh, right. No one wants to watch Moto. No one wants to watch Magic Online. Because Arena, it looks better, right? This is a presentable game. That could be an issue. So I can kill this. And I can kill this. Right, they can do that. Shit. So this would be 4 only? The issue is I died of these. Ah, oh, come on. I wanted to kill Torbran. I guess I can just do this. Then this would be 5, 6, 7. This would be 2, 4. I mean, this makes me live. There's no other enchantments on the field other than mine, so guess I'll block like that and be sad Arasta's dying. The reason you keep the Rime Rock Knight around instead of the Bonecrusher Giant is because I can crush the Giant. Or I can crush the Knight easier. If I can survive with my Hellkite alive, I don't think I can, unfortunately. They made a mistake. I can now survive with my Hellkite still living. So I can pick these off. How much? Is that 4? Yeah, 4, 7. So I should have enough to do that. And to do this. I need to kill my opponent. And you might say, well, Arena had... Fuck, I killed myself. No, I'm alive still. I'm just at 1. 1 is not a place I would like to be. Okay. You get to be there. while I attack. I need to kill my opponent. I don't see a way in doing that unless I attack. I still have the Skarrgan active. Doing this before blocks. Okay. That should be lethal. Especially now. We actually won a game. Anyway, there are other formats on Arena, but we're essentially not allowed to play them, right? Technically, there's Draft and Sealed. I don't like limited formats nearly as much as Constructed. Sealed is okay for me once. Like, I have these things. I don't know when I'm going to use those. Hopefully they don't expire, but it's just not fun. I had a ton of fun in this. I played it twice. I did well. It was fun. I enjoyed myself. But I can't actually go play Brawl, except in some fucking nonsense. This nonsense, which is just a smack in the face. I can't play Historic unless I go into events, which I have to pay for, instead of just, you know, playing the game. It's just frustrating that Wizards is, like, forcing people to play, in my opinion, the worst format. There are several reasons why I think Standard is the worst format. The biggest one, the rotation's wrong. Every time a new set comes in, the oldest set should leave. The reason for this is because right now, sets aren't evenly distributed, right? Certain sets get to stay in significantly longer than others. One thing that means is that when you have a broken-ass set, right, that stays in longer, it's going to taint Standard longer, right? Additionally, it means that Wizards can have more pushed cards more often because they're not going to be tainting Standard as long, right? They're going to be leaving at a regular clip. In my opinion, it makes Standard easier to track, right? Some people might argue that and say, no, having a rotation at a set time every year, that makes sense. Yeah, it's called every time a set comes out. Like, that, what is the oldest set is gone. In my opinion, that's not difficult. Obviously, it makes it so decks expire faster, let's say. But, and hear me out, if Wizards stops designing the decks and goes back to designing the cards, it shouldn't be as much of an issue. We should be able to transition our decks a little bit smoother and easier if, you know, we don't immediately have an unplayable control deck as soon as Teferi leaves. If we don't immediately have an unplayable playable mono green deck because fucking Questing Beast leaves, right? We shouldn't feel that the entire deck dissolves because a single card or two cards are gone. Essentially what I'm saying is, I miss like that. These sets were fun. Not a good time. Theros was fun. These three fucking suck. I hate them. For what it's worth, was there anything just awful about those Standard formats? I don't think so. Like, even if you're looking at like the Merfolk or Vampire aggro decks, those weren't awful. They were good, but they weren't insufferable. Hopefully, so I'm actually really afraid. I'm hopeful that Ikoria is going to be more like Theros and less like Thorn of Eldraine. That's my hope. The issue is that Ikoria is the lair of the behemoths. Those cards are usually green. There's going to be a mutation theme. Usually that is represented by blue-green. What, pray tell, is the strongest color combination Standard right now? Just gonna leave y'all with that one. I hope my incessant moaning has not made you angry enough to unsubscribe. If it was made you angry enough to leave early, then I guess you're not listening to this, I'm realizing. Regardless, I want to thank my patrons for helping me stay fucking sane. The numbers are back to green, but I've stopped caring about the numbers and really did put a lot more emphasis. Jesus, I'm dying. Emphasis on just enjoying the game, and right now, I'm fucking not. It's trash. It's garbage. I hate Standard right now. There are so few decks that I find fun to play against. Hilariously, mono white, fun to play against. Mono black, fun to play against. Hell, I'll even take mono red as long as it doesn't have Embercleave in it. Gruul, more or less okay. Questing Beast and Embercleave push it a lot. The Constellation deck, I'm fine with it. Hit me with those. Ugh, I'm so exhausted. Like, I feel like I was able to explore so many fun and interesting decks in Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance. And I feel like that the ability to do that has dwindled so much since War of the Spark. I mean, technically I could go back and look at the videos that I made and see like how many of these were kind of off the wall decks and how many of them did okay. Not in terms of like the ratings and YouTube stuff and stuff, but like how many didn't end with me being sad because I won a single game and win against nothing but fucking meta decks. I guess mono red was a bit of an issue back then, but even then, I don't know, like even old mono red was beatable. I mean, new mono red obviously still beatable. It was just everywhere. But before, I was thinking, I don't know, maybe I'd rather have stronger decks that were more varied. Maybe I'd rather go back to just playing against the same good but not absurd mono red. I'm just rambling at this point. I hope you all indulge me for a bit. But I just want to talk to people about how upset I am with Standard right now. It's just not fucking fun. I didn't used to be a brewer. I guess at this point I do kind of have to say that I am a brewer. Just because of the number of decks that I quote unquote have to play for the channel. Like if it were up to me, as I've said 1,000 times, I'd be playing Bolas Control in Historic, best of 3. In Standard, I would try to play something Abzan-y. Probably an Abzan version of Constellation deck, because I do want to try and mash those together, not mesh. I'm probably going to try and do that today, just so I feel good about playing Magic. But I would play very few things. Also, I play a ton of Brawl. I would play a ton of Brawl if that shit was 24/7. Brawl is so much more fun than Standard. Same card pool, but the inherent what's the word I'm looking for? Lack of consistency, I think, makes it so that you're not constantly losing to the same exact shit. Even though the majority of the decks are either the blue-green like Cura decks or the black-green Vraska decks, I'm still able to find enjoyment playing against those. Obviously, if you let the Vraska decks get to a point, they're gonna Casualties War ya. That's not particularly great. If you do it against if you do it against Cura, let her get to a certain point, she's just gonna steal all your shit. Not the best, but still, those aren't the only decks being played. In Standard, it feels like the only decks being played are Mono Counter Control, Simic based ramp, because apparently fucking Simic plays 5-color ramp now, and fucking Embercleave. Embercleave slash Questing Beast aggro decks. Maybe I'm super wrong, and that's just like Arena Standard. But the thing is, even if, and I'm going to MTG Goldfish right the fuck now, even if that's not the same in terms of like what's played in Standard or in competitive echelons, it doesn't matter, because that's what I'm playing on the reg. That's what you all watching / listening right now are playing on the reg, and it's not great. So Blue-White Control, Rakdos Aristocrats, that's an okay deck to play against. Mono red aggro, I'd rather play against that. Sultai Ramp, Tamer Reclamation, Jeskai Fires, Golgari Food, Gruul aggro, Mono Black Devotion, Simic. Oh, that was the Standard League. Let's look at the SCG Open from the second. Azorius Control, Mono red, Simic Ramp, Mono red, Azorius Control, Tamer Reclamation, Azorius Control, Mono Black Sack, Azorius Control. So we essentially have Mono red, Simic Control, or Simic Ramp, and Azorius Control. We have one Reclamation deck, which is a combo deck that I think has a bunch of counterspells, and then a Mono Black Sacrifice deck. So essentially, what I was saying. It just makes me so sad. I should probably stop fucking whining and complaining. It really does help the channel if you press the like button. I think it helps more if you comment. I'm not entirely sure on that. Subscribing means that you get to constantly see the evolution of my my utter decline in mental health. And then the notification bell will make sure you see it as soon as you can. Wow, what a fun time. Anyway, I'm just gonna fucking leave and make dinner and just be sad about the state of Standard right now. Kill me.